So the Christmas offers have just dropped for GTA Online, and my first review of the week is a plane. So for long-time watchers of the channel who are used to the kind of car content that I usually do, just think of a plane as like a flying car. Now, focusing on cars for as long as I have, I don't actually use planes all that often. In fact, I think I've only ever done one aircraft review, and that was of the Savage, and that was basically big floaty plane, nice guns, good. Now, if you haven't even heard of the Rogue, that's perfectly understandable, because it could well be that the only time you've ever even seen this is on the Assault on ATT-16 mission, because it's not that widely used. But please do just give me a few minutes of your time and let me see if I can convince you. So what's made me review this one? Well, this is an offer from this week's GTA Online weekly update, and it is at 40% off. And that, in my view, is a bargain, because this is my favourite plane in the game. You'll note I said my favourite plane in the game, not the best plane in the game, because the best plane in the game, this is not. For most players, the Raiju is better in almost all circumstances. And if you're out in this, and if you get into a dogfight with an experienced player in either a Pyro or a Starling, you are toast.
Would anyone like any toast?
There's no two ways about it, you are toast. So why do I like this thing so much? Well, it's because I think this plane was designed by someone who played and liked GTA. Because this thing is fun. It's so much fun to fly. Don't get me wrong, in PvP and in dogfighting it's perfectly capable. It's far from the best choice, absolutely far from ideal, but it's perfectly capable. It has missiles with a decent lock-on, it also has free aim missiles, it has the explosive cannon, although that was nerfed around a year ago with all the explosive cannons apart from the one on the Savage. It also has bombs. But what it has above everything else is the fun factor. It's so much fun to fly. It is a little bit twitchy, and that is one of the things that actually makes it quite good. So flying this thing on the stick, as a lot of people do, it feels a little bit dull, but then when you start bringing the rudder into play, this has one of the most aggressive rudder turns of any of the planes, and you combine that with the fact that it's actually one of the fastest planes in the game. It is faster than many of the jets, so it really can hold its own. But as soon as you master using the rudder whilst you're turning, you will be able to catch up with almost anything and outmaneuver quite a lot of things as well. It's just generally brilliant. I think it looks cool as well. It's one of only a handful of planes that can seat 2 people. It does have some drawbacks. That twitchiness, that manoeuvrability does make it quite difficult to fly, as you can see here and here. And here. But once you get used to it, it is so rewarding, because you know you're playing in something that isn't quite as overpowered as the Raiju. It makes it more satisfying when you do get some kills in. So as you can see, I thought the best way to try and test this was to follow my lap of the map. Now I couldn't start from the normal place, so I started in the airfield, and I didn't need to start that far back because the amount of room you need to take off and land in this is actually pretty good. It's not as good as some of the other planes, but it's pretty easy to drop this thing down almost anywhere. Manoeuvrability, as you can see, I managed to keep mostly to the track just with the rudder. But what's its superpower? There must be another reason I love this thing. Well, there is. It has a secret weapon, and it's not the flares, but they're useful. It has this rather lovely weapon mounted on the front. Now some people call it a propeller. If you're in the know, you might call it a prop. I like to call it the Mark II mincer. Because if you get a Mark II in your sights with this thing, you've got the flares to keep their missiles at bay, you're easily fast enough to catch them, and you're manoeuvrable enough to keep up with them all you need to do is just suck them into that mincer, and that's where you run into one of the other downsides, because I think this thing was made in the same factory of the Sparrow, so you don't want to eat anything spicy before you fly it, because one decent guff and this thing is just going to fall to pieces. So mincing a Mark II will pretty much cost you your plane. I mean, this mess here was caused by one lamppost. But all in all, I think this is a great bike. It doesn't come on offer very often, especially not at 40%. So I'm going to have some expensive reviews for you this week as well, because the D10 is launching, and there's a new faction police car as well, so that could be quite cool. A nice lowrider police car, so heaven knows how much that's going to cost by the time you've done all the upgrades and added the Benny's upgrade to it. So yeah, it's going to be an expensive week, so it might not be the week to pick up a plane, but if you are in the market for one, I think you'll enjoy picking up this. So I hope that was useful. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one, which will be the Coquette D10 Cop Car.